Hi everyone, G.I. Joe here, and welcome back to my bunker here in Atlanta, Georgia. It has been a while since we've last spoken, since last time I've done a video. Been a lot going on, of course, preparation for the Bloodbath tournament we had this past weekend, and that coupled with some things going on here, home renovations, etc., etc. Been a lot going on, but excited to say that we just completed a hugely successful Bloodbath 4 tournament here, hosted in Atlanta, Georgia, by none other than Sire Blood himself. And so I wanted to pop on, give you a little bit of a recap about that, and we'll maybe go to that here in just a second. But wow, what a fantastic event. It was great to see a bunch of guys from all over the country, and even different nations. I know we had Jeremy from Canada come on down, so it was great to have Jeremy join us for the first time. We had guys from California, we had guys from Illinois, we had guys from Ohio, from, man, all over, New Jersey, of course, here in the Atlanta area. Just tons of great guys, Oklahoma, Kansas City. So it was just fantastic to get all the guys together again, and I had an absolute blast. So I did a little bit of a recap video, which you'll see here in just a minute, in Sire's basement, his bunker, Site B3, so I won't go over all that stuff right now. Let you see that here in just a minute. But I was excited to be teamed together with my good buddy Corpo24 from San Francisco Bay Area, California. And we had a blast playing together against some great guys, and it's pretty awesome experience. And fortunately enough, we were able to bring home the gold. So I'm very thankful for that. And that's not easy to do against some great competition. And it seems like every year the competition gets more and more intense. And that's because of the guys that are coming out. A lot of them, some of them are new. Like we had Madman and Moose Cow join us this year, which is fantastic. They are the BBR St. Louis champions that they had a tournament back here in St. Louis in March, this past March, the very first ever BBR tournament in St. Louis. So it was great to see some guys in different parts of the country and different regionals starting to head this way into Atlanta. So very excited. If you want any more information, by the way, about the Bloodbath tournament, there will be a Bloodbath 5 next year. It'll be about the same time. You can simply go to sireblood.com/community and just kind of follow all the different threads. They have discussion threads, question threads, all those kinds of things. And you can maybe wait there for a post about when the dates are and when registration is open for Bloodbath 5. You don't want to miss it. So a couple things here before we go on to the recap. Some pretty cool things were, actually one cool thing was premiered at this tournament, and there's a little more information about this here in the video later on, but Sire made these really cool prototypes of fuel gauge dice, whatever you want to call them, and love the color, but essentially kind of takes the place of fuel gauges. I know some of us like to use the fuel gauges from HBG, which are fantastic. They're acrylic. And some people like to use the dice. So this is kind of a great marriage combination between those two. And there's more information here later on in the video regarding that, on how that came about. Also, because I talked about next year's BBR channel, BBR tournament rather. But before we go on to the recap here, I thought I'd give you a little bit of update here in the bunker, my channel, what's been going on, before we get on to some recaps. So, first of all, I'm working on some new sculpts. I've gone to shapeways.com, and I don't know how well you can see this, but I've gotten some American battleships, and one is the USS Tennessee, one is the USS Maryland, and the other is the USS California. So I think this is the Tennessee / West Virginia. I think they were of the same class, and I think these are the California and Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty cool sculpts. I'm not sure if you can see that well, but I need to weather those. I got a few more bin there, like some UK ships, but their ships I already have. I'm just kind of getting duplicates for them rather, so I can use them on my second table. But let's see here. New sculpts. Oh yes, speaking of sculpts. So if you're familiar with, if you're familiar with Combat Miniatures, it was awesome. We had Rich from Combat Miniatures. He's out in Texas, and by the way, that was another state that was represented. Didn't mean to leave you out there, Rich. But you know, Combat Miniatures has a lot of fantastic items, and one of the things are these great carrier deck stickers, right? And of course, I put them on one of my carriers here. This is my second set. This is the out-of-box Japanese Shinano. And as you know, the out-of-box carriers are all the Shinano class, right? Well, he's done a great job of producing these fantastic carrier deck stickers for those class. Well, I was talking with him at the tournament, and I said, you know, I do have the Shinano class carriers because I use them for my second set, you know, the out-of-box ones, but my premier set that I use on my main table are the ones from shapeways.com, and I think if you've seen any of my videos, you'll see that you may have seen that I've used those. So I have this weathered paint scheme, which you might be familiar with if you've seen any of my other videos. But what I asked him was, you know, we don't have any carrier deck stickers that fit the Shapeways carriers. So we're working on a little collaboration here. I'm going to send him some carriers from Shapeways, and he's going to see if he can maybe, you know, if it can maybe work out. So there's nothing in stone about this other than the fact that he was kind enough and willing enough to be open to at least, you know, measure things out, see if it would be feasible. And of course, with that comes you have to determine whether or not it's going to be economical, whether it's worth the investment to make these kinds of things, will there be enough people interested in it. But nonetheless, hopefully it'll work out. And so I'm going to send him some carriers. So Rich, if you're watching, I'll be getting you some Japanese carriers here soon. And then hopefully you'll be able to come up with something for the carriers. That'll be awesome. And of course, these are fantastic. They look great, but what I would like to see, that looks awesome. I was curious if like maybe a translucent kind of slide-on decal to where you could see a paint scheme underneath it, or maybe options for either or, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, may or may not happen, but I just appreciate the fact that Rich was at least open to hearing a suggestion and willing to, you know, see what happens. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. But so that's exciting. Who knows? Of course, was introduced to the game Midway, and I think I got it back here. Yeah, here's my Midway map. I was introduced to the game Midway by Parker and Hambone at our Oklahoma BB4 playtest, and loved it so much I went and bought it from HBG. It's a fantastic game. I love it. I've only played it about 2 or 3 times, and Sire and I will probably be playing it here sometime in the near future. But I've got a really neat project that, in my mind at least, I've kind of got a little bit of the general blueprint for this, and with the help of Sire and his skills, hopefully I can produce something here. But stay tuned for a pretty cool project that, if I can get what's in my head out onto paper and in real life, I think it's going to be pretty sweet. But so stay tuned for that. So I'm going to be working on a little Midway game project from HBG. And of course, we'll be doing some board game. If you watch Sire's channel here, his update from the tournament, he talked about him and I playing some board games, opening them up, going over the components, playing them, doing a review. And so some of them may or may not be Axis and Allies. They might be other types of war strategy games or what have you. But you might want to check that out if you're interested in those types of things. So once again, we're about to go to a recap here. And let me say that I wasn't able to film a lot of the happenings that were happening all day 1, day 2, day 3, simply because the competition was so rigorous that I really didn't have time to break away from the table to do that kind of stuff. I know some people in the past have been great about that, like Detroit or whomever. But when I broke away from the table, it was basically use the restroom, grab something to eat, or get something to drink, you know, and then it was right back at the table trying to figure out, you know, how to get out of this mess, or how are we gonna forge a win out of this, because the competition was very, very intense. So apologize that we didn't get any, or that I should say, didn't get any live footage there. But I do know Warpig had some live stream broadcasts there. So if you want to go to Warpig's channel, you can maybe check out some stuff going on there. And I think he moved his camera around from table to table. So anyways, nonetheless, again, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I know it's been a while since I've been on, but I appreciate those of you that have been hanging with me. And hopefully you'll enjoy this recap. And stay tuned for some exciting things coming up here this next year. Of course, more Bloodbath stuff, potential World War I stuff. Who knows? Sire has mentioned that several times. Some potential dice. And a cool Midway project I'm going to be working on. Some gameplay stuff with some new games. And so it should be cool. Oh, yes, that's what I wanted to say. I actually have a video that we're going to be producing next week with Gargantua. He is one of my former teammates back from Bloodbath 2019, I think, the second Bloodbath tournament. And we're actually going to be doing a video next week, and I don't think you're going to want to miss it. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be on strategy, just a strategy video, and it's going to be, I think, pretty awesome. It's a strategy I've actually utilized a couple times in tournament play, and maybe once or twice just throughout the year, so over the last couple years. So you're definitely going to want to hang around and keep an eye out for a strategy video that I'm going to be producing next week with none other than Gargantua. So stay tuned for that, guys. Again, hope you enjoy this recap here, and we'll see you soon. All right, here we have day one battles. You see day one battle, we had the Bonsai Battalion versus the Mofo Brothers. We had Team Bruiser maybe? Bruiser. Team Bruiser versus Garrison Raiders. We had what I dubbed Pauglikaji at the dismay of Pagan, but his people's army of our glorious leader Kim Jong-il versus Trash, Rust Belt Brigade, Rust Belt Midwest Bombers, Madman, and Moose Cow. They were the St. Louis BVR winners. Of course, Parker and Rob. I think they came up with a name sometime through that. All right, so day two. This is how the heats ended up. So we had Rob and Parker played Bonsai Battalion. That's myself and Corpo 24. Garrison Raiders played Pauglikaji. See the results there. Midwest Bombers versus the Rust Belt Brigade. Midwest came out on top. Team Bruiser played Trash and came out on top. And Madman and Moose Cow played the Mofo Brothers and came out on top as well. So on day three, championship day, for the bronze game, we had the Midwest Bombers versus Rob and Parker. So a little bit of son-father rivalry there. So that was the Gambler and Ranger. Those were their handles. And Midwest Bombers came out on top there for the bronze medal. And then over here we have Pauglikaji, which is Pagan, Lieutenant Dan, and Wildcat 6305 versus Bonsai Battalion, myself and Corporal 24. And very, very great game with that dreaded Trident strategy. And we were fortunate enough to come out on top. Bonsai Battalion, myself and Corpo. So, but yeah, that's results from BB4. A lot of great guys here. And so that's that. Let's go over here and take a look at some cool stuff over here. All right, so guys, here we have some results from BB tournaments in years past. I think this was the very first one. Yep, right here. War in the OC, BB1. You see all the stuff. I think this is when Reckless Indifference. I think that was VK and Argo. Yeah, Argo there from the Bay Area. They did fantastic. And then year two, which was back in 2019. Again, great guys. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables that year. And this is when myself and Joel Gargantua got to play Midwest Bombers, and we were fortunate enough to win that year, the gold. Last year, the pandemic year, first year in Atlanta, a lot of great guys. We had 4 tables last year, understandably. Didn't want to be too crowded with all the pandemic going on. The Peachtown Players, that was me and Sired. It was awesome to hook up with you then. Played Midwest Bombers in the gold game, and they won that game. But check this out. This is new from last year, right? Pretty sweet, huh? Sired's got his basement kind of happening. Got a cool bar area, TV. So, yeah, man, good stuff. So how was the tournament?
Oh, it was great, man. This was, I believe, like, it was. I think it was the funnest. It was so, every game, it was so hard. It was like nobody walked on anybody. Everybody got along great. There was no, nobody tried to punch anybody. Nobody tried to flip a table. Everyone got done on time, and we were able to go out every single night, except for Sunday. We tried to go out, but it was closed. But we were out and about tried to go every night. Everyone was done on time, and we all left in a big herd. It was great.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a couple things that stood out to me. One, it was great to have Moose Cow Madman here, who won BBR St. Louis back in March. So it was awesome to have a regional champion from another area show up. The other thing was the fact that Detroit, his plane got canceled or postponed actually from Friday night to Saturday. It wasn't supposed to get here till 9 o'clock Saturday night.
Saturday night, yeah.
So he decides to drive all night. So I think that's a testament to you and what you have kind of got going here, that he would be willing to drive 14 hours overnight and then show up.
With no sleep.
With no sleep. And you played against him on day one, right?
Yes. That's probably why we won.
Right.
He's probably a little tired.
Yeah, but so that was awesome. I had a great time and good results. And so you're going to be building out some more stuff here, right, for next year?
Yeah, so I kind of have the tables and chairs laid out kind of because I need to make a bench to hide all this crap. So we're going to have to do some tall benches up here. And then the tables can slide in. We'll have the benches that lift up so all the chairs will fit in here. So it's kind of mocking it up so I know how big I have to make it to get everything that fits, because we had a shed out back.
Right.
But I've always hated it since we moved here, and it's time for that to get trashed because we got to get the backyard leveled. So it's going to get bulldozed over. So I can't put all this back in the shed. So it's got to be here, but I don't want to necessarily look at it until next year.
Nice.
So it's got to be hidden. Yeah.
And I think it might be something that's going to be going right here next year. You think that's going to be up by then?
It'll be up by then. Yep. Han Solo will be in Carbonite. Will be right there. Or 2019 banner is.
Nice.
Yep.
So Han Solo in Carbonite with the lights, the smoke, everything.
Yep.
Yeah, you showed me the prototype. That was pretty sweet. I can't wait.
Yep.
Big Star Wars fan.
So hopefully by this time next year, not hopefully, this time next year, that'll be done. This will be done. And then hopefully the walls are starting to get done. This was just temporary to hold all the insulation in. So hopefully, at least this vicinity is done. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited because it will definitely be a BB5 next year, and be the same time. Dates will be official. If you want to check out or follow along to see what is developing with the Bloodbath rule set, check out siredblood.com/community, and there's tons of discussions there. If you want to download and print stuff, you can do so for free. You just have to be registered. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also we do have a chat group for the Bloodbath. So it's not necessarily open to anybody, but it's open if you've been to a previous bloodbath.
Right.
So if you went to the bloodbath this year or last year or whatnot, and you're not involved in that chat, just let me know, and we can go ahead and get you added to that chat. That way you get updates are a lot faster. You need to share files. It's faster, that kind of stuff. So.
You know what? This just popped in my head, but I thought about this a couple of days ago. One thing that's kind of cool about the championship day, finals day on Monday, was that in the gold game, which was myself and Corpo versus Pagan, Lieutenant Dan, and Wildcat, like 3 of the 5 guys were from our Atlanta play group.
Yes.
And how sweet is that?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
it's awesome we have such a great local niche of guys right here that play it at the drop of a dime anytime.
All right, well, once again, man, thanks for hosting. Thanks for providing a great opportunity for our community, and excited to see what the future holds.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, guys, what would a Bloodbath recap video be without a video on Bounty? All right, won some pretty cool stuff. There were lots of fantastic prizes at the event. I mean, we had sealed games. In fact, one of them was a classic game. Classic sealed, brand new in the box. Classic Axis and Allies. And I think Detroit actually won that. Lots of maps, all types of stuff, guys. There was so much stuff. I think it took us an hour and a half on Monday just to hand out prizes. It was fantastic. So thanks to all of you who have donated stuff. But one of the cool things that I won was this awesome shirt made by the Mofo brothers. And this was actually the shirt that they wore. The cool thing is whenever they come to a tournament, they always have their own shirt, and they always use plain nose art from actual World War II. So they kind of took some plain nose art and kind of coordinated it with the Bloodbath tournament. And of course, theirs, of course, says the Mofo brothers, and they got all this cool stuff on the back. But they made this one just a little more generic because they knew it was going to be a prize, a giveaway. And so Bloodbath 2021 Atlanta. And I love this. And of course, on the back, there's some other cool stuff. BBR USA Tour and all that. So shout out to Moffett Field and the Mofo brothers for making this possible and bringing it. And I'm happy to say that I won it. It's fantastic. On the back of their shirt, of course, they have Mofo brothers on the front. But on the back, it shows all the different Bloodbath tournaments that they've been to, which I think is pretty sweet. So thanks out to you guys. Absolutely love this shirt. And can't wait to see what they come up with next year. Of course, we talked about the fuel dice earlier, and there'll be more information about that. But I actually won these. One of the giveaways was they had a whole bunch of stuff, you know, acrylics and dice and books and et cetera, et cetera. And I love these dice so much that I picked this as one of my giveaways, as one of my prizes. So that was cool. Of course, you may have seen me talking about the carrier deck stickers here from Combat Miniatures. Rich produced, and these are fantastic. And as I said earlier, these fit the Shinano class out-of-box Japanese carriers, but hopefully we'll be able to maybe get something going for those of us that like the Shapeways carriers as well. And of course, there were a lot of other prizes. This is all, I think I won a map or something like that, and I gave some stuff away, but because I'm fortunate enough that my coffer is full. So I'm very happy with what I have. So. But nonetheless, one thing that Sire did was pretty sweet, was he gave out medals, like these little gold medals, and put them on a little lanyard here for people who have medaled ever since BBR. And what he did was he actually went all the way back to the first BBR tournament. And so if you medaled at all over the last 4 years, you got these little medals to wear. So I thought that was kind of cool. So, you know, whenever you place some Axis and Allies, you can throw these around your neck, try to intimidate the competition. So very, very cool. The first one in 2018 didn't go so well for me. I'm sorry, War Torn. I should have been a better player, but War Torn up in Canada was my teammate, and I did not do him a good service. So I apologize for that. But 2019 was fortunate enough to team up with Gargantua. We were able to win the championship there. Last year, got to hook up with my buddy Sire Blood, and we got second place, silver medal. So that was awesome, pretty special there. And of course, like I said, this year, fortunate enough to win the gold here with my buddy from California, Bay Area, Corpo 24. So very, very cool. Thanks, Sire, for making these possible, not only for the people who medaled this year, but for even going back over the last 4 years and making these possible for anybody who has medaled at any time over a Bloodbath tournament. So hopefully we'll be able to add to these in the future. All right, here we are with Sire Blood again. We want to talk about a sweet customization, new customization that was premiered at the tournament. And I think I actually alluded to it on one of my vids earlier, and I didn't want to give anything away because I want to be top secret. So let's take a look and see what it's going to be. Boom. Yes, fuel gauge dice. Now this is just a prototype. First of all, I want to say that like the color is pretty sweet, man. This color, it's kind of like a mustardy yellow-ish. Mm-hmm. But so what made you think about developing the dice?
Well, actually, it was when you and I were playing a game, and you always use the chips. I always use the dice.
Right.
And
the chips meaning the HBG fuel gauge markers.
Yeah, one. Yeah, you got a 2. And you got to sift through them all, trying to find the one you want. Now you did something cool. It was like at least you put a number on both sides, so you don't, they're all upside down. But for me, I always like the dice because I just like to grab one and like I can just roll it and like that's how many is left. So it was actually, we were playing a game and I was like, we need some like field dice, and it's like spawned on. It's like field dice. Like, oh, we should make some field dice. So here we did. And it's got 1 through 6. And if you need 0, well then you don't need a dice.
Yeah. So if you've got a plane out there without any dice on it, it has no movements left. Needs a carrier.
But each dice, it's not only has a number, but it has the equal parts of the fuel, just to make it, just for that, for the fun factor. 2 little notches are on there. You got 1 little notch on there. And plus, what's cool about these, if you need to still roll dice for anything, you need some extra dice. You can still roll them.
That's what I think is awesome. So you can actually use them for bombing raids.
Yeah, you can still roll them too.
Yep.
So it's dual purpose. And plus, this represents 6 chips. You'd have to have 6 of those roundels floating around your tray.
Exactly.
For one dice. And so whenever you pick one up, it doesn't matter what it is. It's always the right one because you just.
Right, so this is the prototype, obviously. So in order for this to go into production, I guess, what would you print? Would you engrave? How would that work?
I believe what I was looking into is they get, what do you call it, screen printed.
Okay.
Apparently it doesn't come off very easily. So I would have to pay for a prototype for that so I can bring it here and I can try and scratch the sucker off and make sure it was durable. That it wouldn't come off over time. So that'd be the first step. Actually, the first step would be, is anybody being interested? Because if not, I just make my own and then I'm cool. But if you are interested and there's enough, I'd pay to get 1 prototype made so I can just test it out. Then at that point the cost would vary on the run. Am I getting 1,000 made? Am I getting 5,000 made at one time?
Well, okay, so I guess the question is, how will we go about finding out if that would be worth your investment? Either maybe a chat on your website saying fuel gauge dice, who's in, or maybe one specific video just dealing with fuel gauge dice and people throwing in the comments. So I guess one of those 2 things. So
maybe we do a fuel gauge or a fuel dice vid.
And they can chime in below or something if they're interested. I'm definitely interested.
Also, if you do chime in interested, you can chime in now. You can chime in again later. But also, what would you like? I'm thinking 6 dice per set. Joe's thinking 8 dice per set. And what do you guys think? How much would you want in addition to multiple sets? You have multiple tables.
Right.
So they might be 100 people want them, but maybe they all want 10 dice each. I don't know. So that'd be 1,000 dice. So that would kind of be where I go.
Cool. All right. So maybe comment below on this video or check out his website, sireblood.com/community. Maybe see if there's some type of thread on there dealing with fuel gauge dice, or keep his channel in the crosshairs in case he pops up a video regarding the fuel gauge dice. But these things are sweet, guys.
I like that idea. I will do a video on the fuel gauge dice. So and that way I can just use that to assess, am I going to go forward with it or not? Also, there was another suggestion. Rich at Combat Miniatures, he said, well, I could always just give you the dice and give you stickers, and then you do them yourself, and you make your own. But there's just, that'd be, I guess, if I can't put them into production and people still want them, I guess I can go that route.
Right.
So even if it doesn't go full forward, you still want them, we could probably still get them to you.
Everybody just have prototypes.
You just have these. You'll do your own. I'll give you the stickers and the dice, and you do your own.
You're not going to put the stickers on yourself. No, it's a lot of work.
It's just time consuming.
Yeah.
It's
not hard, just a lot.
No, it's not. It's not hard. It's just make sure they line up right, because I got OCD.
Yeah. No, these are sweet, man. Like I said, you were kind enough to give me a set when you were developing the prototype. And then I was fortunate enough with the earnings, you win tickets at the tournament. And I was able to, through a drawing, I was going up and I was looking at the stuff on the drawing, all cool stuff. And I was like, well, I've got that. And then there were a couple books, and I lifted up the books, and underneath there was a set of this. So I was like, oh, yes. So now I'm up to 8, and I got a set for my second table. So thanks for making these, man. This is awesome.
You're welcome.
I think they're going to be a huge hit in the community. I love them. It just makes sense. It's a perfect combination of the fuel gauge from HBG and the dice that people tend to always use. So perfect marriage of that. So man, thanks for providing these. And like I said, guys, keep an eye out and chime in if you might be interested.
Thank you.